arranged for them to move here from Waldorf. We found them a place to live. We got them jobs in local restaurants. We got them gigs, introduced them to people. And next thing you know, they're playing there once a week.
When they first decided to start Good Charlotte, you know, they were still scraping by, you know, staying with people that would let them. You know, they would have their own apartment, and then they wouldn't necessarily be able to afford it. Maybe, you know, they were always working hard at the music, but also doing what a lot of, you know, professional musicians that have the heart and soul that want to do it, but basically working as many odd jobs as possible.
My perception of them was they were like sponges, basically. You know, they sort of came into Annapolis from Waldorf, and they sort of soaked up everything.
When we first started out, we were so like hungry and ambitious to make it, and all we did was the band 24/7. And I think in doing that, you know, we gave a lot. We gave a lot to the band, and we gave a lot to our fans, but I think we lost a lot with our family. We like missed out on a lot of moments, you know.
We'd all learned quite a bit after being in the music industry for a while. That, you know, we just kind of said, well, make sure you know, you keep your head straight, and you don't blow your money on dumb stuff, and you know, keep a good work ethic. And they're really smart kids, and they just, you know, kind of grabbed off of what everybody was doing and really learned.
And it wasn't like they were looking for help. They were really just looking for answers and looking for anything they could get. And that's why I wanted to help them. I mean, their music was amazing. I just wanted to be a part of that.
They were lucky in that they didn't really have to play a lot of the dive bars in this area because things went that quickly. People latched onto what they were doing, and they just really caught the wave at the right time.
Having finished high school and made the move from Waldorf to Annapolis, the boys were welcomed into the local music scene, bringing with them a youthful exuberance and determination to succeed.
They were surrounded by people that were, you know, 10, 15 years older than them, who've been doing what they wanted to do. And so they got to, you know, kind of suck that experience up. I think it became a bit of a home for them. It was, you know, even though they didn't grow up here, I think it definitely became, you know, one of their homes.
When they first started getting involved with the Annapolis music scene, they were quite different from what was going on. Because of their youthfulness and their look and their vibe, they represented a niche that a lot of folks weren't necessarily doing in the Annapolis area. Annapolis, the music scene is, for lack of a better term, more adult-oriented. It's not a scene that reeks of, you know, 15 and 16-year-olds. They were kind of the vacuum that started that whole thing. They brought a lot of youth to the Annapolis music scene in that regard.
You know, at the time, the hot buzz was still like the post-alternative. Smashing Pumpkins were still huge. Alice in Chains was still going. And that, you know, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of what I was into, that genre.
To tell you the truth, there wasn't a real strong reaction to them at the beginning. You know, they were like any other cover band, and their real reaction came from a lot of the younger kids that were more their age at the time, and they couldn't get into the bars. They were starting to write their own music and playing a lot of local all ages type shows, and that's where they started to really get a good reaction. And as they grew up and got some people into them that were a little older, they were more successful in the bar scene.
I think they thought that they were really punk rock, and they, you know, to some people I guess they are, but to me they were a pop band, you know, and I don't think they deny that either. I think it's actually better that they were a pop band, because punk rock bands really don't go anywhere.
Definitely they were into punk, but I think at that time they thought Green Day was what punk started with, and not, say, The Clash or Black Flag. And maybe some of us had spoke to them about the origins of punk rock and shared that with them.
Their music kind of, from the very first song they wrote, I think, evolved right to pop. It was kind of immediately this pop, punk, sensible rock that they were delivering with just great lyrics and great hooks, and it really just kind of made you want to be involved with the band in some way, which is the way I felt immediately.
Well, it was simple chords and simple harmonies, but there was definitely some kind of magic to it. You could see that they had a presence. People were drawn to them. You know, you could tell that they were cut out for this. I think the thing that impressed me most that I wanted to help them is they told me they wanted to be able to buy their mom a house. And I thought, well, that's not selling out. That's a pretty good cause.
Driven by the inspiration they found in other musicians and keen to develop their own sound, Good Charlotte were never afraid to draw ideas from different genres. Even early on, they were demonstrating a willingness to combine styles from a wide variety of influences.
Knowing Benji and his style and taste of music, some of his favorite bands were bands like Operation Ivy, Green Day, Rancid, bands like Goldfinger. He went towards more of the, Sex Pistols, that sort of stuff. For people like Billy and Paul, they were more into Cold, the band Cold, and they liked their lighter stuff, even bands like Coldplay and so on, from what I remember. Don't know to be accurate, but I know Cold was definitely one of the bands.
I used to pick on him way back in the day because he listened to metal. He was a big, we're going way back when, but he was a big Korn fan, a big, huge Silverchair fan. And then he started getting into pop music. I remember when he told me he went to a Christina Aguilera concert, and I was like, what?
Joel overall he liked all sorts of music, different types too. Now I know he's a big part in the writing process, but his lyrics and so on basically were driven from his previous experiences and just things that he was into at that point in time.
Morrissey was a huge influence on them, and now that they're playing, their drummer was Morrissey's drummer, is still Morrissey's drummer. I think they were very happy.
He could tell me, you took my drummer, I hate your band. I could be like, I love you.
I'm still digging you, Morrissey.
I go
regardless.
to the shows.
Hey, if someone stole Dino from us, I'd be pretty pissed off.
Yeah. They were the ones that kind of spawned a bunch of different bands. They kind of blended the sounds of alternative and what I guess eventually became an emo vibe and a little bit of the rap rock.
Whilst the Twins' acoustic performances, natural magnetism and ability to harmonise held an instant appeal, it was always as a full band that they really saw themselves. School friends Paul and Aaron had been playing on bass and drums for some time, and now guitarist Billy Martin, formerly of local band Overflow, completed the lineup.
We walked in and there's these two twins. One's playing a guitar and they're both singing. And I said to my other guitar player, I said, these guys are gonna get signed way before we do. And he's like, what are you talking about? They don't have a band. They're just two guys. And I said, look at them. They're twins. Every girl in the room is going,